Belief in witchcraft is universal. It has both negative and positive responses. In a neutral sense, witchcraft is sorcery, the magical manipulation of forces by casting spells and conjuring or invoking spirits. It has been used by humankind since prehistoric times in an effort to control the environment and enhance daily life. Throughout history, witches have been feared because they were believed to be evil, in consort with the devil, and able to fly through the night on a broomstick and shape-shift into magical creatures. The same women who were sought after, healers, midwives, the wise women and crones, for help were the ones who were also feared for their knowledge. In truth, witches are in tune with nature and with themselves. They are men and women who are dark and light, day and night, healer and justice all in one. To be a witch is to be a keeper of balance, the essential witch.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Essential Witch. I am your host, Raven Wings. Tonight, we are going to talk about some herbal magic. I did have a question about plants from Amber. I'm not going to get into how to grow them or grow zones or anything in this particular segment, but I will be doing that in an upcoming show so that we can, find easier ways to grow plants at home. If you look at the picture that I used on the Facebook page for this show, that is a picture of my basil plant and my rosemary right now. And I live in an apartment, so I have to grow those inside and keep them away from the cat because the cat will eat them. But they're doing really well and they both smell amazing. So, but I will get into a show on that where, we can talk about herbs and how to grow them and all that wonderful stuff. But tonight's show is just going to be herbal magic. I'm going to cover a bunch of different basics with herbal magic and oils and some recipes and all kinds of stuff. So that's what we're doing tonight. So in many forms of Wicca, witchcraft, and paganism itself, herbs are used in many different ways. They use them for incenses, tonics, teas, ointments, and even in your spell work. Herbs play a huge role in a number of magical workings. So even if you're just doing a healing or making an oil or an incense or bath washes, there's going to be some kinds of herbs that are involved. So herbs that are used in witchcraft and in Wiccan magic are not always going to be the same as the herbs that are used in, say, conjuring. When doing conjuring work, you will tend to use the roots of the plant, whereas for healing sachets and stuff like that, you will be more apt to use the leaves and the flowers. So this is why hoodoo plant lore and practice is referred to as root working. You're using more of the roots and the stems and stuff. And witchcraft plant lore is a practice called herb magic. So there is a little bit of a difference there. Herbs that are used in magic, they are used for their essences and their vibrations. Herbs have genders, and what I mean by that is you have female plants and male plants. Female plants will produce buds. Male plants produce pollen. And if pollen from a male plant lands on the flower or a bud of a female plant, then the plant will produce seeds. So yes, they do have genders. They are also ruled by planets and elements, and they're often sacred to a god or a goddess, depending on the herb. Herbs have been used since ancient times for their magical and medicinal properties. There are many ways to incorporate the use of herbs in your path, depending on the intentions and the plants used. I'm going to start with some of the basics for making herbal incenses at home, because a lot of people like to burn herbal incenses. Burning of sweet gums, resins, woods, and plants have been used for centuries as offerings to gods and goddesses. Ancient Egyptians burned them as offerings to the god Ra for his daily trek across the heavens. The Greeks burned sweet incense to make more sacrifice and prayer more acceptable to the gods. Native Americans burned sage, sweetgrass, cedar, and tobacco. These were burned in ceremonies to purify oneself and the environment, even to send messages to the great spirits. Incenses are often used to invoke a mood or create an atmosphere. The scents themselves can do that. It is a mental stimulant that can bathe everyday activities in a special kind of glow. So making herbal incense, this is a bit of information on difference between dough incense, loose incense, ingredients in incenses, tools, and how to store them and stuff. An aromatic incense. This is any herb, spice, or botanical powder that gives off a pleasant smoke when burning. This includes wood and bark as well as leaves, and essential oils can actually be substituted. So your base, this is a substance that burns readily and may or may not have any scent to it at all. Most popular bases are made from woody plants like sandalwood, willow, evergreen needles, and charcoal. You can make your own wood powders by processing it in your blender for about 2 minutes on high. Talc or clay can be used to slow burn times down. And they say you can add saltpeter to a base to make it light more quickly. I personally don't recommend that because saltpeter, when it's burning, can actually make you sick. The chemical that it releases when it burns can make you sick. So I wouldn't suggest that. A bonding agent. This is your resins or your gums that hold the aroma and the base together. Some common ones are like agar, caraya, and gum arabic. Those are just your bonding agents to keep all of it together. Liquid. Water is the easiest and least expensive to use, of course. You can also use wine, you can use brandy, herb waters, olive oil, and even tinctures. Coloring agents, the easiest to use is food coloring, but you can also use plants such as red sandalwood for red, willow for brown, safflower for yellow, and even charcoal for black. So if you want to color them, you don't have to use food coloring. You can actually use the plants themselves and stuff to color them. For incense making tools and methods, you're going to need a blender, a wooden spoon, a bowl or two, a set of measuring spoons, and cups. Brown paper will protect your work surface, and you can use a wooden board for drying surfaces. And you may also want to have your journal to write down all your combinations. So your aromatic substances should always be 2 times the base amount of your dry ingredients. And those should be powdered. You'll use about 3 parts of your liquid to 5 parts of the dry mixture. The liquid will turn the dry powder to a glue and also dissolve saltpeter if you use that, which I don't recommend. Mix together your liquid and add just enough of your base, you're holding your glue, so to speak, to make a thick paste. So you want to do it at like 1 teaspoon at a time. Then you stir in the blended dry ingredients, and if it's too soft, you can add more of your base. If it's too dry, you can add more of your liquid. It should be like a soft putty or a moist dough so you can easily shape it. Once you get it to that texture, you can make cones, you can make cylinders, you can make coils, or you can roll it onto sticks. Now, to make incense sticks, bamboo skewers are awesome for this. Cut them in half lengthwise, and they make great sticks for this. So you place your shaped incense on wooden boards in a sunny window to dry. For sticks, you can poke them into clay or styrofoam for drying standing up. And when they're fully dry, you want to store them in an airtight container in a dark and dry place to keep the scent. So those are the different ways you can make incense if you're doing cones or sticks, stuff like that. Loose incense is very easy. It's just dry ingredients which are mixed together and sprinkled over a charcoal disc, and not the charcoal you use in your grill. It's a little different. You want to keep these stored in an airtight container in a dark, dry place too. And always remember to label them, because even though you think, oh yeah, I'm going to remember what this is, no you won't. No you won't. A couple of days will pass and you'll go, oh crap, what did I put in that again? So yeah, you want to make sure you always label them. And I always suggest dating them because they're only good for so long. You know, then they start to lose their potency. So you want to make sure you date them as well. Smudge sticks and grass braids. These are pretty easy. They're just clumps of sweet grass. They can be dried and braided and burned a little at a time. The same goes for sage. Once these are dried and braided, you should keep these in a sealed container and label them well too. I'll be listing different incense recipes at the end of this, so stay tuned. I'm going to give you some more of that. Your herb sachets or your gree bags. Sachets and charms can be made for just about anything. This energy will stay with you as long as you carry these with you, or as the person you have made them for does. They are commonly used for protection, healing, luck, and attraction. You can also keep them in a room or in your car to keep the energy there as well. You can do like a travel bag for protection and hang it up in your car and keep it in your car to keep you protected. The bag that you will use can be bought, or if you're crafty, you can make it. Color is more of a preference than a rule, so do whatever feels comfortable for you. The fabric should be a natural fabric though, like wool, silk, linen, cotton, etc. You don't want synthetic fabrics. It has more of an effect on your goal if it's a natural fabric. The color you choose your fabric, you can do that accordingly. If you want to do a healing, well, let's say a money bag, you can do it with green, just to make the color go with it. If you're making an herb sachet, you will basically be filling it with herbs. Charm bags can hold much more, including stones, animal parts, power objects, stuff like that. And you want to choose your herbs that are associated for your goal. A protection sachet. This might have in it rosemary, cloves, and bay leaves. To attract, you might want to use something like cinnamon bark and vanilla beans. You'll probably want to use dried herbs unless you have a special plan to use the fresh ones with. Because what happens is if the fresh ones mold, it's not good. So you're better off using the dried herbs. You want to simply carry this bag with you. It can be visible or hidden. That's totally up to your preference. Some people will wear them as a necklace or in like a clear vial on their neck. You can add small sachets to necklaces. You can wear them under your shirt. And you may want to replace these items or charge them in the sachet. So trust your intuition on this. You can let the sachet rest for a day and recharge it under the sun or the moon. So it can work both ways. Poppets. That's another great way to use, herbs. They've been used for centuries as a form of sympathetic magic. And they are similar to voodoo dolls. So poppets are commonly used for healing, energizing, and attracting spells. Usually a poppet is made from cloth and filled. However, they can also be made from clay, wood, and wax. And if you're a kitchen witch, you can take gingerbread men and make them into poppets as well. The cloth poppets are usually filled with herbs and a few personal items. If you're making a poppet to banish someone from your life, you would want to use black cloth and fill it with rue, birch, and garlic. You would then want to charge the doll with the person's name. When you're doing a poppet for someone else, you always want to charge it with that person's name. You can then bind it to stop that person from doing whatever it is that you're trying to stop, whether it be gossip, slander, stuff like that. And for a finishing touch, you can toss the doll into a river to take it far away from you as a symbol of this person being out of your life. Now, in no way, shape, or form is that to harm the person. So, banishing and binding spells are not dark magic. They're sometimes necessary magic. So don't think of them as dark, think of them as necessary magic. For a healing poppet, you might want to use green fabric and fill it with rosemary, juniper, and saffron. If this is to help with pain, you may want to place pins in the area that's causing the pain. Slowly removing the pins to relieve the pain and help heal the person the poppet is representing. So the voodoo dolls that you see the pins in were not always used to inflict pain. It was helped to remove pain. Before making your poppet, you probably want to decide who this poppet is going to represent and what the use of the poppet is. And you'll be holding on to this poppet, whether or not you'll be holding on to it or releasing it. And you'll want to choose your fabric and color, cut out your designs, sew it all up, leaving a small space so you can turn it right side out, and then stuff your poppet with the correct herbs for the purpose. You can add a picture or something else to represent the person the poppet is made for. You can sew up the opening. You can also draw a face on it if you want to make it more personal. Tell the poppet who it is and bestow it with a name. Now your poppet is ready. You can bind it, pin it, bury it, bless it, or whatever needs to be done now to have it accomplished. And by the way, Raven's Shadow Crafts, which is my little thing, is home of the poppet with a pocket. So if you are looking for a pre-stuffed poppet with a cute little pocket on his back, you can check out Raven's Shadow Crafts on Facebook. There, now there was a plug for me. Now I want to get into a little bit of the oils and how to make them. Magical oils are simple oils that have been created with specific intent or purposes behind them. Herbal infused oils are used for magical and spiritual purposes like drawing money, drawing love, to aid in meditation and all that kind of stuff. Herbal infused oils are made up from an oil base and an infusion with various herbs or plants, which is done over a period of 2 to 4 4 weeks. Herbs are normally strained out of the oil after the infusion is done. How to make an infused oil. So I'm going to give you the simple process to make an infused oil. For your supplies, you'll need a small glass jar with a tight-fitting lid. Mason jars are perfect for this. Cheesecloth or muslin. An oil base, and that can be vegetable oil. You can use that vegetable oil that's right in your kitchen. I use canola oil. You can use that. You can use olive oil. You can use almond oil. Olive oil and almond oil tend to have a scent of their own with it, so you want to be careful what scents you mix with it, because sometimes it doesn't smell all that great. And then you'll need your dried herbs that you're going to use. And labels. Do not forget labels. You want to label these. You want to fill the glass jar about a third of the way up with your dried herbs, or herb, whatever herbs you're going to be using. Pour your oil base over the herbs, almost to the top of the jar. Then you want to close that jar tightly and label it. You want to date it and put, what it is, what your oil base is, what your herbs are, so you know what's in there. Close that jar tightly. Store it in a dark, cool place, and every day for 2 to 4 weeks, gently shake the jar twice a day. After 2 to 4 weeks, you can open the jar, take your cheesecloth, place it over another jar, and strain it all out. Bottle your infused oil and label and date it again. When you're picking a base oil, there are many to choose from. Like I said, you have olive oil, jojoba oil, sunflower oil, sweet almond oil, avocado oil, and vegetable, just to name a few. If you use sweet almond oil, choose floral and sweet-smelling herbs instead of the stronger herbs like basil or sage to pair with it. You want to always focus your intent when you're making your oil too, and every time you pick it up to shake it twice a day, you want that intent to be there. Your intent is what makes that oil magical. It's what you want it to be, and your intent when you're touching it, that you're infusing it with. You want to always research what herbs you're going to use to make sure it's safe to use for the purpose the oil is being made for. So if you are making an infused oil that is going to be ingested, eaten, you want to make sure whatever herbs you are using in it are okay to be eaten. You don't want to put poisonous herbs in something like that. If you're using it on the skin, make sure that the herbs that you choose won't harm you or cause you a rash from putting them on your skin. You always want to do your research with any herbs you work with. Some of the uses for magical oils are for anointing your altar or tools. You can anoint yourself for meditation or visualization. You can anoint your home to cleanse or protect it. You can use them for dressing candles. And they can even be used on mojo bags and spell bags and gree-gree. I'm going to give you a list of different oils too and their uses before the end of the show as well. So let's talk a little bit about herbal washes and compresses and fermentations. These are herbal infusions that are used externally. They allow the herbs' properties to be absorbed into the skin. They can be used to clean wounds. They can be used to increase circulation, to relax sore muscles, among a whole list of other things that you can use them for. Herbal washes. These can be from a wound wash to an herbal bath. For calming itchy skin to sinus rinses used in neti pots. Facial steams to mouth washes. There's just a whole list of things you can do with this. To make an infusion, you want to place 1 tablespoon of your dried herbs or 3 tablespoons of fresh herbs into a ceramic teapot, mug, or mason jar for each cup you intend to brew. Cover these with boiling water and place on the lid, or cover your cup with a saucer if you're using a cup. And you want to let that steep for 10 to 15 minutes or even overnight. Strain the herbs out. Most often this is used to rinse over the skin. For a wound wash, you can soak gauze in the infusion and then gently dab or rub the wound. You can also pour the infusion over a wound. For sinus rinses, you can add some sea salt to the warm water infusion and put it in your neti pot or sinus rinse bottle. And for baths, you just pour it into your bath water. So there are many different ways you can use, that one infusion. For compresses, these are a stronger infusion that are applied to the body by soaking a rag or another cloth into it and placing it directly on the body. They are used several times a day for short periods each time. They can help things from pink eye to headaches to arthritis and a whole lot more. Use as warm as possible, but not too hot because you don't want it to burn. So these are the ones you want to use warm. A fermentation, this is the same as a compress, but it's either warm or cold, and it's used for longer periods of time. This is great for sprains and pulled muscles, just to name a few things. It's normally called just a warm or cold compress. And finally, before I get into all kinds of recipes that I want to share with you about herbal teas and stuff, to make your herbal tea, you want to choose your herbs. If using fresh herbs, a good guide is 2 teaspoons for every 6 ounces of boiling water. If you're using dried herbs, you want to use 1 to 2 teaspoons depending on how strong you want your tea to be. Place the herbs in a cup or a mug and then pour the boiling water over the herbs. Fresh herbs should steep for 5 to 10 minutes and dried herbs should steep for 3 to 5 minutes depending on how strong you want your tea to be. While you're gathering your herbs and creating your tea, your intent and purpose should always be on what you're creating this tea for. I am going to include some magical tea recipes in the end of this information too. And always make sure the herbs that you'll be consuming are able to be consumed, that they will not affect any medications you're taking. So if you are going to start drinking herbal teas, and I'm talking even over the counter, stuff you buy at the grocery store, herbal teas like Sleepy Time tea. I love Sleepy Time tea. I have that from my Keurig because I just love Sleepy Time tea. But if you're allergic to chamomile or you take certain medications that chamomile can affect, that over-the-counter tea just made you very, very ill. So anybody who's taking any over-the-counter medications, any prescription medications, talk to your pharmacist, talk to your doctor. Get on Google, not that I, totally believe that everything on Google is correct, but do your homework. Get an herb book. Make sure that whatever you're going to be taking isn't going to affect something that you're already taking, because even aspirin with certain herbs can cause you to get a cut and you practically bleed to death. So, you want to make sure if you're on Coumadin and stuff that you're very careful with any kind of herbs that you use. So, make sure you always check. Also remember that herbs can cause allergic reactions, so you always want to check with a doctor before taking any herbal tea, especially if you're allergic to ragweed or something like that. There are certain teas out there that will actually affect you. And asthmatics. Asthmatics are another one that need to check into stuff like that as well. Now I'm going to get on to some of the most common herbs and their uses. Common herbs for use in Magick. Basil. I love basil. Basil's one of my favorites. You can use this for protection, money, success, happy family, peaceful home, and to drive away the evil eye. It can also be used for cleansing and exorcism and can be burned as an incense, made into a tea, used as a floor wash, and even added to your bath. So, I grow my own basil for a reason. It's got many, many uses, and I love the smell, and I love the way it tastes. So, rosemary. This is the go-to herb anyway. This is the ultimate herb. If you are missing any herb, use rosemary in its place because it is the ultimate herb. You can use this for protection and a guardian for women. It's also used to bring good dreams, to keep a marriage faithful and the home peaceful. It's great when you use it in cleansing washes and baths. You can use it in incense, also pop it in sachets to ward away nightmares. You can place in washes for cleaning, sachets for healing, and can be substituted for any herb. So rosemary is the go-to herb. Thyme is used for peace of mind while sleeping and to protect your money. You can burn it for cleansing. It can be worn. It can be burned or added to baths for healing. You can add it to a sachet for a nightmare-free sleep as well. Nutmeg is used to bring good luck, especially when gambling. Cloves. These are used to draw friendship. You can burn for protection physically and psychically as well. Allspice is used for money drawing, business success, and to relieve tension. Bay leaves are used for protection to avoid being jinxed or hexed. They can be burned or used in tea to induce prophetic dreams, and they can also aid in curse reversals and for purification. Dandelion. This can be used in tea or carried to enhance psychic dreams and second sight. Lavender flowers are used to promote passion, romance, harmony, friendship, and cooperation with a lover. Chamomile, yes, I can speak, flowers are used in gambling spells and washes, and they're also used for cleansing, unhexing, and uncrossing as well. Mugwort, burned or inhaled for psychic abilities. You can make it into a tea to wash amulets and crystals as well. Cinnamon is used to heat up a spell. You want to use that in your love spells, money, success, or protection spells. You can burn it for cleansing, protection, to bring good luck and prosperity to a business. Make it in a tea and pour it over the front steps of a business to bring in customers. Or you can get that damn Pokemon app and just, make your business one of those Pokemon stops. Mint, used in sachets to attract money. And place it in businesses to bring in activity and prosperity. You can use it in teas for psychic abilities. You can use it in incense, washes, baths, everything. Pepper. Regular black pepper. Used for protection. And white pepper will work too. Now I'm going to get into a few incense blends and recipes. So if you have pen and paper, get it now, because, I will archive this show though. So, if you don't get it all now, you can get it later. If you want to make an altar incense, 3 parts frankincense, 2 parts myrrh, 1 part cinnamon. There you go, altar incense. You want to burn as a general incense on your altar to purify the area. Pretty simple. If you're into astral travel and you want to try astral travel incense, 3 parts sandalwood, 3 parts benzoin, 1 part mugwort, and 1 part crete. You burn a small amount in the room to aid in projecting the astral body. Born again incense. This is used when you're upset about a friend or a loved one that has passed. So this is to help you with the grieving of losing a loved one. That is 3 parts frankincense, 1 part mullein, and 1 part mums or chrysanthemums. Business incense. You want to burn this to attract business. 2 parts benzoin, 1 part cinnamon, 1 part basil. Most of these are going to be 3 or 4 herbs. That's all you need for these. A clearing incense. Frankincense, 3 parts. 3 parts copal, 2 parts myrrh, 1 part sandalwood. You want to burn this incense to clear your home of negative vibrations, especially like household members that are arguing, or when the house seems really heavy and thick with anger or jealousy or depression, all those negative emotions. Leave the windows open while you're burning this mixture so that it can take the negativity out of your house. If you're wanting to purify your crystals, a crystal purification incense, 2 parts frankincense, 2 parts copal, 1 part sandalwood, 1 part rosemary, a pinch of finely powdered salt, and 1 small purified quartz crystal point. To use this one, you pour a bit of the incense, leaving the crystal in the jar, because you want to keep the crystal in the jar, onto the charcoal. You smolder it and pass the crystals to be purified through the smoke, visualizing the smoke wafting away the stone's impurities. This incense can be used in conjunction with other recommended purifying rituals that you use, or in place of them. To cleanse the crystal, leave it in sunlight for a few days, placed under running water overnight, or bury it in the earth for a week. There are many different, and you can put them in moonlight too. So there are many different ways. This is just an incense you can use with it. A healing incense. 1 part rosemary, 1 part juniper berries. That's it. Burn to speed healing while you're visualizing it. I'm going to go over some of the following herbs now that you put in magical sachets for your magical intent. If you are looking for courage and you want to make a sachet, basil, black cohosh, borage, columbine, iris, mullein, nettle, yarrow, poke, sweet pea, tea thyme, and wahoo. Those are all the different herbs you can use. You can use a lot of them, one of them. This is where all of your work comes in, where you decide which ones that you want to use. If you're looking to make one for creativity, acorns, beech, lily, and mistletoe. If you're out looking for a job and you need that extra oomph for that job, for employment, devil's shoestring and lucky hand. For fertility, you're trying to get pregnant, acorns, bananas, barley, bistort, cuckoo flower, dates, hawthorn, hazelnuts, horsetail, mistletoe, mugwort, patchouli, pomegranate, poppy seeds, and wheat. These are all, you can use all of them, you can use one of them, you can use a couple of them, whatever you want to do. For fidelity, caraway, cumin, elder, and spikenard. For friendship, love seed, passion fruit, sweet pea, and yarrow. If you want to do a happiness bag, chamomile, hawthorn, High John the Conqueror, jasmine, marjoram, motherwort, savory, St. John's wort, thistle, and vervain. All great to use. Healing, if you're doing a healing one, angelica, balm, calamus, camphor, carnation, cinnamon, coriander, eucalyptus, fennel, gardenia, heliotrope, hops, lavender, mimosa, mint, mugwort, myrrh, peppermint, pine, rosemary, rowan, rue, sage, sassafras, spearmint, thyme, vervain, willow, wintergreen, and wood sorrel. Lots that you can use for healing. Health and longevity. Acorns, carnations, clinique foil, cowslip, cypress, eucalyptus, feverfew, figwort, garlic, ginseng, horse chestnut, lavender, linden, mint, mistletoe, mugwort, myrtle, nutmeg, peach, peony, pine cones, rosemary, rowan, rue, sage, St. John's wort, spikenard, tansy, thyme, vervain, walnut, and wood sorrel. So there's plenty to use for that as well. For legal matters, let's say you have a court case coming up. Buckthorn, cascara, celandine, clinique foil, marigold, and skunk cabbage. Those are all great for that. For love, there are so many. Here we go. Adam and Eve roots, apple blossoms, apricot, ash, aster, balm, balm of Gillette, basil, bedstraw, belladonna, betony, black snake root, I can speak, really, I can, Brazil nuts, capers, and yes, clinique foil is also known as five-fingered root. Yes, it is, because it has 5 fingers on it. Coltsfoot, coriander, daisy, dogbane, Dutchman's breeches, elm, ginseng, grains of paradise, henbane, hibiscus, hyacinth, Indian paintbrush, jasmine, juniper, lady's mantle, lavender, lemon, lemon verbena, licorice, mallow, meadow rue, meadow sweet, mimosa, mullein, myrtle, orange orchids, orchises, pansy, patchouli, pimento, rose, rosemary, saffron, St. John's wort, southern wood, spiderwort, tonka, vervain, violet, willow, wormwood, yarrow. It's a long list for love, too. If you're looking to make one for luck, daffodil, devil's bit, devil's shoestring, frankincense, grains of paradise, High John the Conqueror, holly, huckleberry, Irish moss, ivy, Job's tears, lotus, and lucky hand. Those are all great. For lust, you can use acorns, capers, cattails, ginseng, grains of paradise, juniper berries, mugwort, nettle, patchouli, rosemary, saffron, witch's grass, and yohimbe. Yohimbe. If you want to do a power one, cedar, clinique foil, rowan, and oak. Great to use. If you're looking for prophetic dreams, chamomile, clary sage, coltsfoot, heliotrope, hops, jasmine, lavender, marigold, mimosa, mugwort, nutmeg, peppermint, St. John's wort, vervain, and wormwood. All great to use for that. For prosperity, ton of stuff you can use for this. Alfalfa, allspice, almond, banana, basil, bergamot, bistort, black snake root, blue flag, cashew, cedar, clinique foil, ginger, ginseng, grains of paradise, heliotrope, honesty, Irish moss, oats, orange or Oregon grape, patchouli, pecans, pineapple, pomegranate, popular, poppy seeds, sage, sassafras, snake root, sweet woodruff, tea, tulip, vervain, and wheat. For protection, agrimony, agu root, althea, angelica, bay, beans, betony, bittersweet, boneset, bracken fern, burdock, caraway, carnation, castor, cinnamon, comfrey, devil's bit, dogwood, dragon's blood, ebony, elder, eucalyptus, fennel, frankincense, garlic, High John the Conqueror, horehound, lady slippers, leeks, marjoram, mint, mistletoe, motherwort, mullein, nettle, nightshade, oak, pepper, tree, rice, rose, rose geranium, rowan, rue, holly, thistle, toadflax, tulip, vervain, wax plant, willow, wolfsbane, wormwood. So there is a ton of different ones you can use for protection. For psychic powers, althea, bladderwhack, broom, clary sage, cinnamon, dandelion, deer tongue, eyebright, grass, lavender, linden, mugwort, juniper, rowan, thyme, vervain, and wormwood. All great for psychic powers. If you're going to make one to hang in your car for safe travels, you can use comfrey, daffodil, feverfew, garlic, heather, Irish moss, juniper, mountain mahogany, mint, mistletoe, mugwort, mullein, oak, pennyroyal, quince seeds, rowan, rue, sweet woodruff, and wormwood. There you go. For spirituality, cinnamon, frankincense, iris, and wood aloes. For strength, bay, betony, carnation, comfrey, nettle, pennyroyal, St. John's wort, sweet woodruff, tea, and thistle. For success, you want to use balm, Clinique foil, fennel, frankincense, ginger, High John the Conqueror, horse chestnut, lucky hand, Oregon grape, pennyroyal, rowan, wahoo, and winter's bark. And for the last thing on this list, wisdom and mental powers for your bag. Clinique foil, dill, eyebright, hazelnut, horehound, iris, mace, mustard seed, rue, sage, savory, spearmint, and vanilla. Those are all great to use for that. The following information I'm going to give you is on some hoodoo herbs. Okay, so if you are looking to do hoodoo, which is wort cutting, which is different, these are some of the herbs that you would use in hoodoo. Because they are a little different, they use more of your root bases and stuff like that. So ginger is popular. It gives fiery protection from evil, and it can also heat up a love affair and sexuality. High John the Conqueror root. As an amulet, it has no equal. It is used for drawing luck, gaining mastery, and strengthening the libido of men. Folks also make a dressing oil from the chips of the root and incorporate it into sachet powders and incenses and crystals for bath or floor wash as well. Queen Elizabeth root is also known as orris root and can be used to attract men and cause them to love you. Angelica root, also known as Holy Ghost root and Archangel root and Dong Quai. This enhances female magical power and strength and protects children. Lucky hand root. This is also known as helping hand or salep root, S-A-L-E-P root. This unusual name refers to a rare wild orchid that grows in the form of a hand with 2 to 10 lifelike fingers. Gamblers say that it is a grasping action bringing in their winnings, and musicians employ it to help them with the fingering of their instruments, like guitar players. 5-finger grass, which is what we were talking about earlier, which is also called silverweed, brings success in all things that 5 fingers can do and is used to get others to do you favors. Hyssop herb is a purification herb for cleansing yourself or your home, or to put an end to crossed conditions, to take off a jinx or break a hex. The devil's pod is known as batnut, goat head, bullnut, and buffalo nut, and grants the owner strong protection from evil. Calamus root is also known as sweet flag and is used by those who wish to control a situation or to dominate a specific person. Licorice root will help you gain power over others and control them, and it's also used to change someone's mind. Deer's tongue is used to get someone to love you, to obtain a proposal of marriage, and also good for court cases. Little John to chew, which is also known as chewing John and galangal. Folks chew it and spit it out to win in court. So there are some of hoodoo stuff for you. I don't have a lot, but I do have some. Now there's some magical oils that I'm going to give you some uses for. If you make your own magical oils. If you make an anise oil, which is like a black licorice type of oil, is psychic awareness and clairvoyance. Basil oil for conscious mind, happiness, peace, and it's also good to attract money. So that would be a great oil to anoint a candle with if you're doing a candle spell. Anoint it with basil oil to do the spell to attract money. Bergamot is used for peace, happiness, restful sleep, and it soothes stress. A black pepper oil is for mental alertness, physical energy, protection, and courage. Cedarwood oil is for spirituality, self-control, healing, and an anti-hex. Cinnamon, this is good for physical energy, protection, psychic awareness, prosperity, and healing. Clary sage is used for euphoria and calming dreams. Clove bud, healing, memory, protection, and courage. Coffee, an actual coffee oil. Conscious mind and breaking deadlocks. Cypress, easing and comforting the losses, healing, blessing, and consecration. Yeah, I can speak. Dragon's blood oil is used for protection, purification, and love. Eucalyptus oil would be for healing, health, and purification. Frankincense would be good for spirituality, meditation, and astral strength. Geranium oil would be for happiness, protection, power, and ritual, and magic. Ginger, magical energy, physical energy, sex, love, money, and attracting courage. Grapefruit oil, purification. Hyssop oil, purification and conscious mind. Jasmine oil, I love the smell of jasmine. This is for love, calming, peace, spirituality, sex, sleep, and psychic dreams. Lavender oil for health, love, peace, and relaxation. Lemon, this is used for energizing health, healing, physical energy, and purification. Lemongrass oil, psychic awareness and purification. Lime oil, purification, physical energy, and protection. Lotus oil, spirituality, healing, meditation, opening, and elevating. Marjoram oil, peace, celibacy, and sleep. Mugwort oil is used for psychic awareness, psychic dreams, and astral projections. Musk oil, which I love almost as much as the smell of leather, prosperity, and an aphrodisiac. Myrrh, spirituality, meditation, and healing. Orange is purification, joy, physical energy, and magical energy. Patchouli oil is used for sex, money, and physical energy. Peppermint, conscious mind and purification. Pine, healing, purification, protection, physical energy, money, magical energy. Rosemary, longevity, memory, love, consciousness, and mind healing and purification. And yes, it does say that if you sniff rosemary on a daily basis, it actually helps your mind to stop the forms of dementia and Alzheimer's. If you have beginning stages and stuff, they've found that using the smell of rosemary is actually working wonders with people who have dementia and Alzheimer's. It's actually slowing the progression of it down. So if you do that now before you have it, you should be able to avoid it. Hence why I have a rosemary plant in my house. Rose, this is used for love, peace, sex, and beauty. Sage is used for memory, wisdom, money, purification. Sandalwood, spirituality, healing, purification, and meditation. Spearmint, healing, protection during sleep. Tangerine, I love tangerine oil. Well-being, wards off psychic and social vampires, and adds power to any of your mixtures. Tea tree oil. It's great for harmony, and it also has many other uses that are antibacterial and stuff like that. Vanilla oil, sex, love, physical energy, and magical energy. Wintergreen, it's great for protection of animals and good luck in money. Wormwood, this is a great aphrodisiac, clairvoyant, spell breaking, anything psychically related. Wormwood's great for. And Lang Lang is good for love, peace, and sex as an oil. I have a few recipes for baths. A summer cleansing bath, 3 parts of marjoram, 3 parts of thyme. Use this as often as you like during the spring and summer to rid yourself of the winter chills. A simple herbal bath. If you want to go with peace, you'll use chamomile, lavender, rose, hops, and peppermint. For energy, use heather, rosemary, lemon balm, and savory. For comforting, marigold, lavender, raspberry leaves, chamomile, mint, and rosemary. And for relaxation, chamomile, heather, lemon balm, jasmine. Real easy, type of stuff. A moon soak spell. This is to relax you and become attuned with the goddess at the end of a busy day. You can treat yourself to a moon soak. To start, you want to prepare a small dish of white flower petals mixed lightly with Epsom salt and scented with a few drops of jasmine oil. You want to have ready a silver or light blue candle and draw a warm bath. Light your candle, turn off the lights, adding some background music if you'd like. Disrobe and look out the window if possible to see the moon. If you can't see it, then, I don't have a window in my bathroom. That's not going to happen. So you can visualize her in whatever phase she's in. Ask the Lady of the Moon to bless you and draw down her power. As you anoint your forehead, head, throat, heart, and abdomen, your loins and your feet, with each with a drop of jasmine oil. Now toss your Epsom salt mixture into the bath, step in, and enjoy. That's a nice moon soak spell to help you out with that. If you're looking for a purification blend, you can use a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, a handful of fresh eucalyptus leaves, and a handful of fresh rue leaves. 3 pinches of salt and a quart of water. Add the herbs to vinegar and let them sit overnight. Strain them through a cheesecloth and then add them to the water with the salt. And you can use that mixture to wash objects to be purified, such as jewelry, amulets, magical tools. Or you can add a half a cup amount to the bath. And this is actually a very weak diluted tincture. It's basically what it is. Tea for divination. If you're looking to do a tea that you can, sit there and do some divination with. 1 tablespoon of China Black, English breakfast, or Irish breakfast tea. 2 teaspoons of lemon balm. 1 teaspoon of eyebright. 1 tablespoon of mugwort. 1 teaspoon of rose hips. And you would just, pour the hot water over it, let it steep for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how strong you want it, and then strain it. Thank you so much for coming in and listening to me ramble today. Have a great night, all. I'll talk to you later.